And we're live, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk, and good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. It's been a while for me, so I'm happy to be here, and love seeing all your smiling faces so early in the morning. I want to start by calling this meeting to order, and item number 2 is disclosure of pecuniary interests. I don't have any before me. I've not been aware of any. Is there anyone here who feels they have a pecuniary interest at this time? Seeing no one, if you do at some point throughout the meeting, please let us know so we can record it for the record. Item number 3, approval of the agenda. 3.1 is resolved that the contents of the agenda for September 2nd, 2023 be approved as circulated. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Belanger, Councillor Timms, all in favor? That motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to item number 4, bylaws. 4.1, resolved that a bylaw to appoint temporary municipal bylaw enforcement officers for the town of Wasaga Beach be received and to be deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2023-91. And I'll open the floor to whichever staff member wants to speak to this. Is that you, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm happy to start off, and then I'll pass the floor to either Jerry or Danny if I miss anything that they want to add. So thank you, and we appreciate you pulling this meeting together on such short notice. We've been observing how yesterday went, and certainly we want to do our best to thank the community for all of their patience at the checkpoints. We do know it is an inconvenience. We do believe that it is working, and yesterday was relatively quiet. So what we are doing is preparing for today. I won't get into intelligence that has been shared with us, but we do believe that there are more coming today, that we want to be as best prepared as we can. OPP are doing a tremendous job throughout town, and what we are looking to do is help beef up the presence at the actual checkpoints. In order to do that, we have a private security firm that we have retained to assist the municipality, and what we are looking to do is have them become temporary bylaw officers so that they are able to lay charges for those offenders that cause problems at the checkpoints. Again, we hope it will be minimal, but we have to be prepared as best we can. So with that, Danny or Jerry, is there anything you wanted to add? And again, we won't get into too much technical detail here, but Jerry or Danny, is there anything that you wanted to add that I've missed?
Why don't we go to Danny next?
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning, members of council. Yeah, this just makes good tactical sense for us. You know, we did observe yesterday at the checkpoints that there was some pressure. So essentially, this just allows us. It doubles the number of people on the ground that are in a position to issue fines. So tactically, we just think this is a really good move.
All right, Jerry.
No, I think, thank you, Your Worship. Both Danny and Andrew have, I think, got all the pertinent points in front of us. So I think I just reinforce what they've shared with council.
Right. Chief, anything to add?
I do not, Your Worship.
All right, thank you. All right, council. So if I'm understanding correctly from staff, we're looking to deputize each of the security guards so as that they're able to enforce the bylaws and actually lay the fines. And these are Form 1 provincial offenses, correct?
That is correct.
And so these are the same type of fine you'd get as a traffic ticket. Is that correct? Enforceable by the court?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that, Your Worship.
Yeah, no problem. So this is the same type of fine as a speeding ticket. It's enforceable by the courts, and you get it. You have so many days to dispute it, or you're found guilty and you're expected to pay it. Correct?
That is correct, Your Worship. It is a Part 1 fine under the Provincial Offences Act.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Ego?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I guess I go through these still quite often, and you know, I see the young guards there, the young officers. Will they be safe? Could they be harassed badly at these checkpoints?
So I'll take that one. And again, Danny, if you want to add anything that I may miss. So part of the reason why we're doing this is to help them. Again, lessons learned. We do believe there needs to be a bit of a stronger presence at each of these checkpoints. And they're doing the best they can, but we do believe by adding this element to it, it will increase the safety of those guards that we have retained. I should mention also that we are videotaping all of these checkpoints. So safety first, what we have instructed them, if there's somebody intent on blowing through the checkpoint, do not get in the way. Step out of the way. We do not want anyone getting hurt, but we will be capturing all of those cars on videotape. And we have the ability to go after them after the fact, which is exactly what we intend to do. But safety first, we do believe that this added element will help improve the safety and effectiveness of these checkpoints.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, thank you. Councillor White was next.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and appreciate everybody coming together for this so quickly this morning. Yeah, I was very vocal in opposing the checkpoints in the beginning. However, I do feel that we are here now and it's the will of the council to do this. So I think it's definitely appropriate to make sure they have the tools necessary to make this effective and safe for everybody. So I will be definitely supporting this. Thank you.
All right, Councillor Belanger, and I do see Councillor Timms as well.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Last night when I did go out to Eastdale and then back in 92, there was an OPP in the parking area across from the gas bar out there. So I'm assuming if they're not communicating to the checkpoint, they're communicating to other OPP if there's oncoming vehicles. But at any point, are we going to actually block the road if we know there are vehicles that are, within a half mile or a mile of the checkpoint, or because obviously that would slow them down as opposed to them driving by?
So through Mayor Smith, we've been monitoring and adjusting as we go, as we see the effectiveness throughout the day. And you may have noticed on Thursday, essentially, we instructed that the checkpoints be free flowing because we were not seeing a lot of modified cars, and we're trying to minimize this disruption to the community the best that we can. So they were essentially free flowing for most of Thursday. We were given advice from the OPP to get them up as soon as possible. That's why we moved so quickly to have them in place for Thursday so that we can quickly respond. Friday, as we started to see the cars move into town, and out of the interest of safety of the checkpoint operators, we asked them to slow the cars down a little bit. We're trying to keep it 10 to 15 cars, no more than that backup. We don't want to cause too much traffic, but by slowing the cars down, it does make it safer for the checkpoint operators, and then they can flag any car that we need to pull aside. We do have spotters well up the road that is signaling ahead. We've got a few coming, be prepared. We did request that OPP be at those checkpoints with us. They are hanging back a little bit from the actual checkpoint. We're going to be revisiting that today, and we have requested that additional support because we do believe that presence would make the checkpoints that much more safer and more effective. But there is a significant police presence in town that has been supporting, and I think you've all seen that overnight. And again, none of us want to be doing any of this, but we are doing the best that we can to try and keep our community safe.
Thank you, Andrew. Councillor Timms.
I just want to add that the checkpoints on the west end of town are going very well when I was going through. But I do have a question. Do we have a lot of ride happening in town? This was shared with me that there are checkpoints within town as well that are stopping every car. So not on the proposed or the activated outskirts of town, but within the town limits.
Yeah, through Mayor Smith, the police are being quite diligent at pulling over a lot of the modified cars. We have actually spoken with some of the occupants of some of these cars, and a lot of them are coming out with mittfuls of tickets. So it's not just one stop. The worst offenders, they're getting multiple tickets, multiple pullovers. Some are being towed away and impounded. And the one good thing is, again, I don't want to give away too much intelligence on this open call, but there were a number of planned large gatherings yesterday, and the OPP managed to intercept all of them. I won't disclose where they were to occur, but you will recall last year the kind of events that you saw at Canadian Tire. That was planned for yesterday. It is planned for today. So they are being very effective at getting ahead of all of that and preventing a lot of that. So our hope is that we can keep out in front of this and keep our community safe. And ideally, for memories of summer, that we can have Sunday be as normal as possible.
All right. Anyone else wishes to comment or have any questions?
Mayor Smith, I see Danny in the chambers.
Okay, Danny, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'll look to Madam Clerk on a housekeeping item. Our bylaw, our car rally bylaw, gave us the authority to close the roads for 3 days. Because we stood the road closures up a little bit early, that 3 days would expire at a time that's not ideal for us. I do believe it would be within Council's authority today to extend those road closures, and what we'd recommend is that they be extended till 12 a.m. Tuesday morning.
All right, thank you, Danny. I don't think anyone have an issue with that, to extend that. All right, we'll leave that for the clerk to put into or adapt and adjust the next resolution.
I have a motion. Mayor Smith?
All right, before you do, are there any other comments? I do have a few. So, hey, I'm very happy to be back with all of you and see you. And I want to commend all of council for being here on such short notice. It shows our dedication and commitment to the safety of our community. And while we have all of council here, I think it's also important to commend our staff, especially our senior staff team, who have been working basically round the clock and have done, in my opinion, an absolute phenomenal job. I've been in touch with them regularly. They've done an outstanding job, and I couldn't be more proud of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and make sure you please pass that on behalf of council to other staff that are out there doing what you do so well today. So it's much appreciated. There's a couple of things I think are important to note, and if I go offside here, Madam Clerk, please let me know. But I've received, I don't want to say countless, I've probably received 10 emails in the last 3 or 4 days to my office, some of them of which you have all been copied on, from a select few members of the public and or business individuals. And I don't know about the rest of you, but when I read these emails, the first thing that comes to my mind is how self-serving and how uncaring individuals are for our community as a whole. The fact that these road checks may inhibit someone for a couple of minutes to get to the superstore or the liquor store, or they may have to wait to get back into town should they have left for 10 minutes or something, versus the safety and security and well-being of our community. I don't know about the rest of you, it's just mind-boggling to me. And so we do plan to prepare somewhat of a canned response in the next few days for a lot of these. And there are a few that I plan to respond to directly, some of those being some business people who, quite frankly, I'm very surprised at the self-centered, selfish outlook on them and their sole business only in our community. But what I'm getting at here is we have 25,000 residents in this community, another 10,000 roughly part-time residents, and countless visitors. And I've received maybe 10 emails. It's such a small amount of people. It's probably not even worth responding, quite frankly. But they've sent an email, so they warrant a response. When I look at social media, which I have done for the last 3 days, I've been instructed very clearly by senior members of staff to stop reading it. But when you've got nothing better to do, it's what you do. And it's my advice as well, so I do need to follow it. But this is an important item in our community right now. I think that this is precedent setting, and if we need to move forward and do this ever again, we do need to learn and understand it well. But even on social media, I'm seeing the same 50, maybe 100 people who are out there attempting to stir the pot and often are being shut down by rational individuals in our community. And so, we just cannot make our decisions based on social media. And I'm not saying we have or we will. I know that our council and our senior staff are much brighter than that for sure. But again, it amazes me how people are so self-absorbed, and it's quite disheartening for me. I don't know about the rest of you, but when I do read this stuff, it's disheartening for me to think that these people believe there's no one else in the world but them. So having said that, the other thing, the last thing I want to touch on is the OPP, because I think this is an important topic for council to have discussion on, if not some today, but in future. And that is, as we went through this process, and staff, correct me if I'm wrong, but as we went through this process and we sat down with the OPP, 90 or 95% of what we're doing today, we did basically based on the information and the expertise that we received from the OPP. Everything we're doing today, we passed by the OPP. No time did they object to any of it. And in my opinion, it was clear to me during these meetings that the OPP was fully prepared, would be fully prepared to deal with this event this weekend, and that they would be working with us and specifically have an officer at every one of our checkpoints along with our security and our bylaw officers, not to stop the cars, not to question the drivers, not to profile, but to be there as a show of force and security, that the OPP were very much involved and very much aware of what we're doing, and that it was all legal and fell within the constitutional rights of individuals. And I would say that the very fact that we, Danny and senior staff and their hard work, were able to get an injunction from a senior superior court judge with respect to this matter tells me that what we have done and what we are doing is constitutional and does fall well within the laws and rights of individuals. Courts do not hand these things out willy-nilly today. If anything, they are more adverse to giving these things out or doing this than ever before. And so I, as mayor, am very confident in what we have done and how we're moving forward. I know that the OPP have and will continue to do a great job within the community. But where I'm extremely disappointed, and I think we need to have discussion moving forward, is that the OPP told us they would be at every checkpoint. And I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, having an OPP officer at those checkpoints, if for nothing else, I think just increases the safety and the security of our staff and the company that we've hired to do this. And the fact that they have not stepped up, even though they've been asked to do so. I know that Andrew has had some conversations with the detachment commander, and they have not kept their word on this. Quite frankly, I'm annoyed as hell about it. They were extremely happy that they had a council now that was willing and able to work with them, not against them, as in the past. And we have done everything they've asked. We have stepped up. We have gone above and beyond what I believe is our part in securing the safety of our community. And they need to do their part. They need to keep their word. And so I'm going to leave that to staff today. But I want to make council aware that I believe we need to have conversation on this afterwards, because if we're going to partner with any organization, including the OPP moving forward, we need to be rest assured, as they do, that we're all going to keep our word and do what we say we will do. And I believe the town in this case has gone above and beyond. And again, I commend staff for that, because that's who's been getting this done. So I'm open to comments on this, if anyone wishes to comment, and the staff as well, and then we'll move on. Councillor Belanger?
Yes, through your worship, not a comment on what you just indicated, because I totally agree, but because it is a public meeting, and I had a number of conversations with the same individuals you heard from, I think there's two important points. People have short memories. Like most of the people in business that raised a concern, it was that the roadblocks and the traffic situation we were creating might impact their business. But I would remind them of the last time H2OI was allowed to come into a town, that the traffic chaos they created. And I indicated that what did they think the traffic would be if 300 to 1,000 of these cars were on the streets? And we know that was chaos. But the second thing that I think is really important, we just had a special budget meeting where we estimated our OPP increase at $262,000. And the last H2OI was very expensive to the municipality, and we know that will be phased in over the next 4 years, those costs. So I would remind the public there is a cost to these checkpoints, but not nearly as high as having helicopters in the air and command centers and all the rest of it. So, $262,000 is 1% on all our taxes. And not only are we taking great care of the safety of our residents, but we also are doing our best to limit the impact on taxation. So I just wanted to make those 2 points in a public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, all right. Again, I'll just reiterate, have the utmost respect for the Ontario Provincial Police and what they do. They keep our community safe on a regular basis, but we need to be able to count on what we're told, and we'll keep our word as well. All right, Madam Clerk, you have a resolution amended?
I do. So prior to adoption of the bylaws, I do have a motion to waive the portion of the car rally bylaw. So I will propose the following: that Council waive Section 5.3 of Bylaw 2023-74 to permit a road closure to extend beyond 3 days, ending at midnight, Tuesday, September 5th, 2023.
All right, you've heard the question. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that? Or any questions, first of all? Sorry. Seeing none, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Ego and Councillor DeLeo, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, the resolution 4.1 2023-91. I've already read that. You've heard that. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that as well? Councillor Timms and Deputy Mayor Snell, all in favor? That also carries unanimously. Moving item to 4.2, 2023-92, resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Wasaga Beach at its special emergency meeting held Saturday, September 2nd, 2023 be received and to be deemed to have read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered number 2023-2. Can I have a mover and a second for this confirmatory bylaw? Moved by Councillor Timms and seconded by Councillor Ego. All in favor? That also carries unanimously. And if there's nothing else from staff, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.